Good morning, good midweek morning, ladies and gentlemen. Family, how we doing out there? December 18th, a week to Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. I hope we have squared away what we needed to get for folks. I hope that we put some heart and some meaning into it. Today we're going to have a little holiday talk, right? A little holiday talk. We want to also make some corrections from last week's episode because, again, your boy was real happy about the fact that we are over 1,000 plus strong. So today's topic, we're gonna be talking about the holidays, right? Giving and receiving. Ladies and gentlemen, family, welcome in us, the 900, almost 1,000 view plus strong community, man. Thank you, family. Thank you, family. Right? Follow your hearts, ladies and gentlemen. And we know that the road has just begun, man. The road has just begun. But we take the time to how do I say this? We take the time to soak in the accomplishments as well as we grow from the criticisms. It's got to be both. It's a combination of both. You know, when they talk about your emotions and you get too emotional, to our emotional brothers and sisters out there, right? Those who are passionate, empaths, and all these kinds of things, right? Of which I do, to an extent, consider myself one. Understand this, that it is the power to make yourself stronger as a person, right? These are things that you study in life, all that kind of thing. Combine your emotion with knowledge. You got to know something. Your emotions, that thing that's, you know, and we talk about this with our prejudger being broken and stuff. When you start to understand certain things, it helps enhance that power, that emotion. But you got to know some things. You got to learn and study some things. We're going to talk a little bit today. Again, this is this holiday season. We understand everybody does not celebrate Christmas, right? We have to come with a how do I say this, right? Since we're getting closer to February, just because you like doing the thing you like to do in a certain position on a certain day, okay, does not mean everybody else does, right? We have to be mindful of that, y'all. You know, I know. KJ, I don't want to. Yeah, no, we see again, Master trained you real good. See, and that this kind of thinking pours down into a lot of things. It trained you real good to just keep your eyes right there. See those Pharisees and Sadducees looking in that window to catch that woman in the act of adultery, man. They was okay looking all around. You understand? It was okay tracking. We know people like that, right? They've been trained to be good spies, man. The Black Widow from Marvel Comics would have a problem keeping up with some folk today, I tell you. Yeah. These people are good at just porch watching all day long. That mess that says the difference between defense and being nosy. I digress, right? Thank you, family. Welcome in us. The 900, excuse me. 800 was just a little bit while ago. The 900, almost 1,000 plus strong family, right? That believe in, hunger for, thirst after, and run toward, right? Some people run where we talked about this last time. Some people run toward mischief, but we run toward that, which is a different view, right? Hey, welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Couple of days will be the start of winter, right? Winter is coming, ladies and gentlemen, right? For our AEW and our Game of Thrones fans out there, right? Winter is coming. The world of wrestling. You know, just to interject this real quick, it's good AEW's there. A lot of these other promotions need to be there because, again, there's some very real stale elements still, and it's just your boy speaking, okay? Excuse me. There's some very real stale elements in WWE. The bloodline thing is cool, guys and gals. For those who pay attention to wrestling, you know you're gonna get this. For those who don't, hang in there for a second. I'm not gonna talk long on this subject. Looking at War Games was cool. It had a violent element. A lot of people got hurt, especially in the men's match. It was cool seeing again Io Shirai. I know this. I know in WWE they like changing names and stuff like that. Again, for me, I'm more under the thought process. Or those who don't think that way, it is what it is. But there's always been something there, unless you're talking to Samoans, right? Different people groups on the planet, but Asian folks, some black people do to an extent. Some of our black brothers and sisters, wrestlers, they're able to keep certain names. So certain things, when they get a little too where they feel is going to be a little disconnect, they start switching the names. This happened with the Viking Raiders, right? Or the War Raiders. It's just something they wanted. They try to get away from. Like, listen, this is what Vikings were doing back then, okay? And you get two big brothers, right, that looking like Thor and Boulder, okay, from Norse mythology, man. Just call them what it is, right? Io Shirai was her name when she was in what I like to call the rookie leagues, NXT and WWE. Her little flip off that they changed her name over to Io Sky, right? Whether or not she had the change made, whatever, right? That's just my POV. I think they need to leave names more natural, right? Like that big African brother Omas, right? just leave it like it is. It's okay. Fans will get used to it, right? Or they won't, either or, right? Again, I think fandom has to be genuine. You know, if you really like a thing, you really like a thing. I don't need you to pander and coddle to me in order for me to like a thing. I just like it. It is what it is, right? Again, these are some things that we pick up from Massa a little much. But War Games overall was good to see. The thing with both bloodlines fighting, unfortunately, pulling that from family fighting family. I hope y'all didn't do that too much during Thanksgiving, right? Again, the man got us fighting over some things we shouldn't even take the time of day talking about. To be honest with you, man. Oh Lord, got us fighting over who was this and who was that and where this person came from and stuff when they're around these lands exploring and stuff, and just we don't know and I don't think that is true, and just, yeah, got us fighting over silly stuff, man. Same thing on the job. Who ain't worth who's due money? Like, what do you mean who's not worth whose salary? Why do we fight over that anymore? Why are we not fighting for more money, man? Why do we fight against each other to not make money? Lord, if that ain't some confusion, that is some confusion. You can see Master's mentality at work there, man. That big boss, though, you can make that money. Oh, he can make that money. You know, it's okay. How many % increase he got this year? 9,000. Oh, that's fine. How much did you make? 50 cents? No, how dare you? Lord help us to see through the deception, man. It's about standing together, man. I tell y'all what. These are some of the things that we argued about, man. Ain't no need for sowing that level of discord, man. You're supposed to make the money you're supposed to make. You're supposed to go in that doctor's office and get the right care for your body, man. Natural, holistic care. This is very real. This is very real. You keep messing around. This is what they said about COVID, right? The certain thing. And this is not to say that thing wasn't killing people, but it's a real, this is a real thing. They use a lot of disease to thin out the herd, man. This is, unfortunately, again, y'all, we're talking, look from history, right? And we're going to do a little bit of it with history, with church history, with Bible history today when we bring up certain of these verses that I was kind of mixing and matching. I want to put that to bed. It's just us talking off the cuff, ladies and gentlemen. Probably around the phrase "give and receive," because again, we have missed it. All of us. We got to look out for each other. I think that's been a thing that we have really hammered home and referenced this year. Is this idea of looking out after each other, y'all? It's not gonna work if we keep cutting each other's throats. This is not working. Got this battle, lives dying over in the Middle East because, again, just like over here in the Americas, folks refuse to get along. Live where you got to live in peace. This is the problem. And then we start coming up and start devising and start thinking and this, that, and the other, while I'm thinking about that, right? This thing that we do where we keep thinking and trying to find ways of just hurting each other. I mean, I must say it that way, right? Why do we use the ability to reason to harm each other instead of reason to set each other free? Man, I don't, I don't. Let me just mute the thing here so y'all are not hearing that noise come through. My apologies. This is Isaiah. We're just gonna get into certain verses here. Isaiah 1, the first one that we read, 61, right? That most popular chapter that you'll hear sometimes in churches and such, talking about the anointing, right? All the sermons that have come down the pike on the anointing, really not that complicated of a topic. Again, you have been given ability to be able to affect the planet. The beliefs talk about it as energy or chakras, chi, energy, ability, power, right? Man, how church folk go wild on that power. Say power. Many times it's because we chase after massa, and massa's very power hungry. So as soon as you say power, when your mind is not in the right place, you get like that James, I don't think it was James Can, I think it was James Dean in Family Guy. Ooh, piece of candy. That's what it's like. Isaiah 1 gets down to just, again, coming up higher. Really, that's what this chapter talking about. It's coming up higher, right? Excuse me. The recount of some things. And again, it's just talking about coming up higher. It's not really the negation of things. It's where you put them in their proper perspective. I got to say that. Because I think we keep missing it. We're saying what isn't, and we're not putting it in its proper. Everything has a place, right? This is what you're told. We're reading out of Isaiah, but out the same Old Testament, right? It's telling you that there's a place for things under heaven. There's a time for things. There's place, right? Time, place, same similar kind of thing. So go all the way down to verse 18. Well, let's back up a little bit here to let's go to 15. And when you spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Yea, when you make many prayers, I'll not hear you, because your hands are full of blood. Okay. Wash you, make you clean. No, watch how to wash you, make you clean happens. Again, we're removing the spooky element out of this. We're talking about what we can do, ladies and gentlemen, right? So let's just keep it rolling. Wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes. Cease to do evil. Now, again, you just saw that in the verse before. Talking about this idea of hands full of blood, right? Learn to do well, seek judgment. How let me look at my counter real quick. We're at 13 minutes. Let's do some real quick breakdowns of words and phrases. Again, how we will continue to reiterate that on this podcast, because repetition is necessary for learning. The definition of the word judgment. We are going to look at this again. We've been doing this lately from Oxford's dictionary. The ability to make considered decisions or come to sensible conclusions, which is why I can boldly say people's prejudger. That's where prejudice, judgment, it's off the base of the word judge, right? We're just reading judgment. The ability to make considered. What are we using to then base the considered? Are we even considering the decisions we're making? Ladies and gentlemen, our lives is full of this. We probably went into just a little bit more debt this holiday season because we did not consider a thing. We operated more off emotion than off of knowledge. Do you know that person? You know, getting somebody a gift just to get them gifts is silly. Right? Gift giving is a thing, but just giving, just for giving's sake, You have to be careful in that. That can be taken out of balance, just like the receive part, right? It's the quality of the gift you give, not the quantity of gifts. Also, not the quantity of the dollar amount of the gift, the quality of the gift. $15 says a whole lot that $1,500 can't say, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, right? I mean, this is a thing. We have to be, these are things. Hands full of blood, y'all. Come on now. I know we look at it as murder. I know we do. Right? Relieve the oppressed. Okay, this is going to be a common theme by the time you have heard the end of this episode. By the way, just oppress. What's oppress mean? Since everybody has a problem with the word victim, man. Well, what's oppressed? As an adjective, again from Oxford's dictionary, subject to harsh or authoritarian treatment. What's authoritarian? We don't heard that word come up a lot, especially with the different ways that governments of the world operate, especially this one here as the, United States, we call it, right? Favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, especially that of government, at the expense. Tap your neighbor, say yeah, at the expense, yeah. Said they ruling over me, yeah. Oh, say it one more time, yeah. Said they ruling over me, yeah. At the expense of personal freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, I boldly say it on this podcast. It's about the balance between the two. Man, and until we get it, we've not got it yet. It is both give and receive. Not just giving and not just receiving. The verse we're going to read is going to point out something just a little bit more pointed. It's going to point the scale in the opposite direction. Yet, understand the base of it is to give and to receive. No one taught their kids like this from the cradle. That's why you see so much death and destruction you see out in the street, because we don't teach give and receive. We've made doctrines of both, one or the other, but not in between. Oppression. Dealing with being subjected to harsh and ruling and treatment, that is without your personal freedom. You have been given personal in him. This is what your Bible says. In him, talking about the creator, the maker, the designer, great fashioner. In him we move, in God we move, live, and have our being. Fancy words for saying we're made in the likeness of, where we have movement and being, expression. That's why you can look at certain skin tone folks on this planet. Everyone from the palest of pale with their river dance, right? Or whatever jig they got, to the darkest of dark in the Congo. Shaking and dancing and moving them feet, y'all. Our native brothers and sisters' expression, talking to their creator through the dance that we make fun of when we talk about rain dancing. See, you missed it. The bachata, right? Our Latin brothers. See, as we spoke last time, people are the greatest commodity, y'all, not the stuff. Not the stuff. Not the houses you live in, not the apartment you live in, not that car you're driving. You, hey, you are the greatest commodity. That's why they make all these excessive cars, to get your essence through your money. You see, your money is as much a vote as the vote we've done this past November. This is the real where the Bible is written, y'all. This is the real where the Bible is written. Let me continue. Not that stuff they've been telling you every Sunday, y'all. Not again, even when we talk about with Jesus' birth, I had mentioned it last time. Again, we understand that Jesus was not born on the 25th. Can we put that out there? But it is times of refreshing under heaven. This is the time now where we speak about that event and where we do not ignore other cultures and what they believe in. There's a certain air in which we have to speak, in which we do things, because this is not to negate someone else, right? The rest of that verse, that's the oppressed, right? Just got off talking about oppression. Judge the fatherless. So now judgment, right? What did we just say judgment was, right? Let's go back, because this is how you deal with now the fatherless. Judgment. Making considered decisions. Lord help somebody. You know, I'm talking about, I got a note here about the pain of the holidays. The fatherless, man. The fatherless, y'all. Again, people are the greatest commodity, not the things. You talk about toys for tots, man. This thing is, we see, so if the Santa Claus thing is real, right? I still got to go see that movie, Red One. I haven't watched that just yet. We'll see how that actor J.K. Simmons, I believe his name is. We'll see how his rendition of Santa goes. But you gotta get it down the inside, man. It's not about the things. It's about the people. The things there without the people is also out of balance. It's the people, right? Are we making considered decisions to sensible or coming to sensible conclusions when it comes to those who we consider less than, or in this case, the fatherless? If we're talking the fathers, let's not the motherless, right? Let's use some more words that are used. The guardianless, right? Parentless. Are we thinking of those? I know when we talk about fatherless is talking about your father's dead. But can we also speak on the deadbeat dads out there, ladies and gentlemen? See the pain of the holidays. Same goes for mothers, because this is talking life is in balance, it's both sides. Right? How we have let the harm of sexism and the misuse of our powerful sexual nature cause us to hurt the generations after us. Ladies and gentlemen, on this podcast, I'm done on that as well. It's not working. This chauvinism we've been doing, gentlemen, is not working. We're holding on to this mess by strings because we're not holding on to a firm foundation. That woman's your partner. She ain't even your woman. She's a partner. Many times in the terminology, we have thought a thing, and sometimes because we're thinking things, we make up terminology everywhere. We're all over the place. That's my woman. That's my man. No, that is your partner. We're too possessive, which is why by the time infidelity and adultery do occur, because they are real things. Though I talk about the opposite of a thing, I do not neglect. I want that to be very clear up front, because one, it's a defense in the mind to stop people from learning. The other side of it is to shed light on that which we just hide behind. Everything is not just infidelity and adultery, but infidelity and adultery are very real things that we should not be doing to each other. Notice how I said it, each other. I'm not giving a pass to men. I'm not giving a pass to women. I recognize why women and also why men both do what they do. We'll get on that topic. We're just talking about this for right now. It's not working. We got to let it go. It's time for teamwork to begin. Ain't nobody the coach of nothing if you ain't got a team. You ain't the head of a house if you don't have a house. And unfortunately, this is to break down this bias that's there. Not to talk against family dynamic, to break down the bias that's there. Let's continue. Plead for the widow. Plead for the widow. My Lord, help us, man. What you anointed for, yo? You, yo. It ain't to sit up in that. It ain't to sit up in that. Let me let the snippet thing play if y'all hear. Oh man. Plead for the widow. Plead. Y'all look up that word plead, what it means, man. And then we're going to sit there, do stuff like Black Lives Don't Matter. We started doing this whole plead. We're talking people in a bad spot. The widow, that husband, that protection gone. Again, we on a team, so that thing works the opposite way. Don't you think that man knows what the hell he's doing without the woman there? My God, help someone understand it today. Let people understand and let love wash away this mess. We don't have a clue. It is not good for the man. Now, you want to be specific on what it's saying. It's not cool for man to be alone. Again, we understand that word is also expansive. So it's not good for humans, right? That thing look weird, as we have talked about before in this podcast. Verse 18. All right, so we got through that. Come now and let us reason. Let us reason. Look at the words that are being used in these verses. Judgment, relieve, plead, reason. All right, let's see what reason means. If I could get my computer to work here, reason. Yeah, reason. Oh, man, reason. A cause, explanation, justification for it. My. Are we looking for the reason why people are doing what they're doing? We're not. We're too stuck behind legality and religion, and we are. That's why you can't reason. This is a noun, again, coming from Oxford's dictionary. A cause, explanation, or justification for it. A justification. Why are they justified doing what they're doing? See, again, those who are spiritual in a spirit of meekness restoring people, we have missed it, y'all. You got to put yourself in that place. The power of the mind. This is the second definition. To think, understand, and form what? Judgments by a project of what? Logic. See, emotion and your logic have got to be combined. There are times where you use one or the other. But again, this is why you have the basis for verses like that tell you to be angry but sin not, because there are actions you can do while angry that are not sinning. I hope somebody understands this. Just like there's actions you can do while you're sad, right? This is why grief is a real thing. Folks need to stop telling folks how they're supposed to grieve and start being there and bearing each other's burdens as they are grieving. Yes. It'll help you get through the pain of these holidays. Families not giving folks gifts the way they're supposed to. Just not paying attention to people anymore because you chasing that bag. Man, Massa got you chasing that bag so good you done forgot who you are. You know, there's a verse in the Bible where they blame God on turning an evil king, a wicked king, into a beast crawling around. You got to understand that was that king's actions that did that, not God. There are laws already. We spoke about this during last year's Halloween episode. Y'all re-listen to it. Please do. I ask that you do, right? There are certain things on a spiritual level we're not paying attention to. You just living down here droning away and missing. We all do it. We're missing a lot of this, man, right? Let us reason. Use the power that has been given to us in our great minds, man. Reason together, saith the Lord. Come now, let us reason together. God saying this, right? Isaiah is a prophet, so we know about that prophecy, prophesying and all that stuff. Normally in the churches, oh, hey, you're going to meet this person. And you better know on the inside for somebody telling you else about you. Yeah. Anyway, right? It's not making fun of a real thing. I'm just saying, people sitting here telling you about you. Do you know anything about you? Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be like wool. Again, these things occur in verse 18 as we reasoned. We got to think on these things. We got to talk about these things, right? So now getting into this here, as we get to the end, as we know we're sitting here around 30 minutes. We want to go into these verses here that I talked about that I kind of mixed all together. Speaking on speaking on reasoning, right? Giving and receiving, all that kind of thing. So let's start off. First off, I had mentioned about Acts 17. Acts is dealing with, the book of Acts there, as I'm finding, has a lot of ins and outs with the other epistles of the Bible. Now, so when you're reading Galatians, certain things, this is something you can look online. Certain things that are in Galatians are also taking place at the same time Acts is being written. Again, a lot of this that you're reading in the New Testament is dealing with the formation of the church. Okay, this is why when everybody gets very, you got to go to a church, I got to be around people who think like I do, right? This is just in general. This is not about going to church. This is just in general about forming around people. You got to be and make it known. See, I know the evil empire out there has got it to the point where you can't find nobody because if you do, we're gonna X you off. I understand. This is just like watching Star Wars. We get it. We know. Right? It's so much so that the movie Spaceballs is making fun of the same idea. Okay, so we know, right? Like them two brothers out there combing the desert with a pick, right? Although it's and we understand about Mel Brooks making fun of cultures and all that kind of thing, right? We ain't found. We'll just leave it at that, right? At the end of the day, folks, right? Understand, we got to know where the place of refuge are. See, everybody else know where to go. They know whatever hole in the wall bar. They know what town hall place to go to. They know where to go to talk down about you and get you out of their neighborhood. Do you know anywhere to go where you can stand fast and stand hold to what you do? You? We got to start making it obvious, folks. They want to stand out in front with their pickets and their torches. Come on, we're just talking about repeating history here. If that's what y'all think is normal, it is what it is. This is not to support violence, but we are talking about for those who need to find places where people are like-minded. You get there, right? As much as this thing is about the church, and if you're talking church folks now, to my Christian brothers, to our Christian brothers and sisters, if you're about this, the Bible is telling you things of making places of refuge. Not where you hurt people. But I digress. So, Acts 17. Paul is reiterating some things that happened to him while he was in Greece. Again, we talked about this thing of the Bible. You got to understand the place where it is. Go back, find out what was going on. Now, when you read about Acts, all these things are happening from zero. Right? Again, as we've talked about time, everything BCE or BC was being done in reverse. So if you talked about 5th century BC, or 500 BCE, or 5th century BCE, that'd be 500 to 401. It's going in reverse. Whereas you talked about the 5th century CE or AD, 5th century would be 400 to 501. That's just the way they decided to break up time, right? One way is counting down, the other one's counting up. Okay, but in reality, it's all been counting up from the. Never mind. We'll leave that alone. We'll leave time alone. That's a different story for a different day. So now Paul is having this conversation here. Brings out two huge points in Acts 17, number 1, as they've gone out, they're doing their thing. They've come from Thessalonica, like I mentioned last time. They're doing church stuff, right? But this is what is told of these people. Verse 5, but the Jews which believed not moved with envy. Interesting. I'm telling you about that greed thing, man. Took unto them certain lewd fellows. Interesting how lewd is meant. Will let you look up the word lewd. Of the baser sort gathered a company and set all the city in uproar. Interesting. So now you got something going on where ain't nothing happening, and then all of a sudden a bunch of people are put into it to cause an uproar. Where have we seen that before? Oh wait, didn't I just mention Black Lives Matter? Yeah, I did. That's not the only one, by the way. That's happened a lot through history. And assaulted the house of Jason. Again, this is a person here, I believe, that is in group with Paul, if I'm not mistaken. To the serious Bible heads out there who go real hard with this, shout out your boy. Let me know about the house of Jason, okay? And sought to bring them out to the people, okay? And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, these are they, or these that have turned the world upside down, are come hither here also. And Paul goes on to say in verse 7, whom Jason hath received, these check this out, these all do contrary to the decrees of Caesar, saying that there is another king, one Jesus. This statement in 7 is reiterated by the time that, and this is why I read out the King James Bible, was by the time good old King James made and decreed for the King James Bible to be written. When I tell y'all, ladies and gentlemen, that you got a lot of inconsistencies from Scripture because it's a book made for a king, this is very true indeed. Why Christian brothers and sisters still play this game toward Nero. That's why I use Nero, Caesar, Nero, Rome. They're still stuck. Why are you stuck there? Clearly the Bible is telling you, you're supposed to stand up and say that there's another. Speaking specifically toward governments of the world. Now notice this government here, when they mention Caesar, is not in the Americas. It's in Rome, other side of the planet, which I do believe Italy they call part of the Western civilization, I think. I think some of when you talk about Eastern culture, it kind of bleeds over, which is somewhat of a pseudo thing because we're all people down here. Yeah, the people over in Australia are far, far away from where I'm at, but from where I'm at and where they are, we're still people. Huh? Anyway, yes, we got different customs and stuff like that, but the thing that is common denominator is that we're people. So they could dress with face paint and bones in their ears and stuff. That don't change them no different than me because I dress with dress pants on or pajamas, as we've talked about on other episodes and stuff like that. We're still, never mind. Only when you accept and sip down Masyrup and Massa's doctrine could you look at people differently. That's the only way. Now, to further that point, when you get to the end of this, you have heard me say this a million times, and we're going to say it a million times more. This is during Paul's great Mars Hill speech to these brothers in Greece, right? Understand that when you're talking on Greece, and he mentions this phrase, verse 23, for I passed by and behold your devotions and found an altar with the inscription to the unknown God. When you start, this is him talking about what Paul believes in, as in conjunction to these people's belief. Whether they accepted it or not is up to them, but this is Paul saying it. That type of mentality should be no different for the Christian today. If you're talking on the Wiccan thing, you say your POV, that's it. I'm not damning them to hell. This is something that deals with God, not the maker. That's not me. Okay? Sometimes we go a little too far here, and now it's like we got to tell y'all how wrong you are. Again, we can give a point of view, but the one doing the judgment's not us. And I know I've gone a little bit long here. We're gonna try to wrap this up here real quick. So now to the unknown God whom ye see again. Greece had a pantheon of gods. Again, we've spoken on this with chakra, which some people will not believe in or will believe. You got multiple parts. In Greece, they believed that there were multiple gods. A whole list of them. Again, we're going to have conversations on all this kind of stuff. We're going to have guests on. We're going to have conversations on these things because these things need to be talked about. This is the time period in which you're reading these verses. So you got to understand what was going on then to get a proper POV into the power that's in these verses. Now check what happens toward the end of this thing. See, and again, ain't nobody from the pulpit is saying this. Where do you see it? Somebody come out to me, tell me who are the people that in classes and churches is telling folks this. And we'll shout it out here on the podcast because it's a real thing. It needs to be happening, right? Whom ye ignorantly worship. Okay, again, this is Paul saying this now. Because people still got to make a choice. Even though he's telling them you're being ignorant with it, you still got a choice to choose, right? This is the same man who told people you got to study for yourself, okay? So you got to take all these things with a grain of salt as you go along. I'm not saying that he's not wrong, okay, from the Christian point of view. But from another's, listen, what you do is what you do. I hope y'all can understand and catch the balance of this. I'm not going to sit here and say who is ignorant in the thing. Although even sometimes I do try to bring out the places in life where we are missing it, still our choice, right? Him I declare unto you. So now God is about to tell you who this unknown God is. Now, many of his people at the end of his speech really believed what he was saying because they could correlate this unknown God with this God that he is describing. Now watch this. Watch how he describes who this God is, by the way. God that made the world and all things herein, seeing that he is, again, we understand God is pulling she from he, so there's got to be she in God. You can't make in a likeness with what's not there, but I digress, right? He is the Lord of heaven and earth, dwelleth not in temples made with hands. So God dwelleth in temples, just not in temples made with hands. Okay? Neither is worshipped with men's hands, as though he needed anything. Okay? So again, those 12 gods, people had to do sacrifices to them to earn good favors from them, so on and so forth. This is the part that Paul is trying to break down to them, like, hey, this is not how this unknown God operates. Okay. Now, again, you read throughout the Bible, clearly there's works that go along with what you do. There's a response to how you believe in something. There always is. You think frogs shouldn't be in your house, you're going to make sure you ever see a frog in your house is going out your house, right? Okay, there's a response to the things you believe in. If you think black people are always going to steal your car every time or something like that, you're going to do certain things, right? I digress. Seeing he giveth life to all and breath in all things. Okay, here's verse 26. And hath made from one blood all nations of men. You got to understand when you go back into 0 to 100 CE, aka AD, right? At the time this was written, Greece was getting down and funky, y'all. Do you know what was going on right before this time period? It was cool that I looked it up. It was the Hellenistic period. The Hellenistic period was a time in Greece that was from 323 BC to 31. So again, we're getting close to this same time period of 0 to 60 and 100 when all this is going on with the Bible and this whole time period. Here's some of the things that were going on during the Hellenistic period in Greece. The death of Alexander the Great. Again, these are things you can look up right online. I'm not doing a deep dive. You just got to know where to look. You got to open up your heart enough to know where to look. Alexander the Great in 323 BC ended with the defeat of Cleopatra and Mark Antony at the Battle of Actium in 31 BC. All these things you can look up, right? Again, what was the characteristics of the Hellenists? All have sources, by the way. So I'm not just speaking off the cuff. These are people who are studying these things and writing them down. The Hellenistic period was marked by the spread of Greek culture to new regions, new to them, including, check these places now, India, Europe, North Africa. Now, you already know by the time that you start learning certain things that people have been saying that there's black folks who were teaching the Grecians things back then, right? Y'all knew that, right, family? Okay. We'll leave it alone. See, again, we're going to talk about the California Indians. We're going to keep on this subject. From one blood, all nations. If you think it's dealing with, now we're just talking people groups. Then add in men and women and how they interacted in these people groups. We need to go back, y'all, understand what was going on then, because that's what affected today. Do you know how much Greek culture is in today's society? I wonder. Never mind. North Africa and Asia. Okay. We understand when you're talking about North Africa, you got Egypt up there, the Mediterranean. We're talking, hello, Middle East. Never mind. Great mixing of Greek and non-Greek cultures. Okay. Again, you got Greece and Rome right there, because that was the breakdown that happened by the time Paul is referencing everything about the unknown God. Right. Let me see if I actually pulled that up. I might not have. All right. But those are just some of the things. Again, the Hellenistic period. This is everything that happened right up to the time he was talking. This was the period that was happening in Greece. Okay? Because by the time Paul is talking, Rome is starting to take over Greece. Again, not supposed to be doing that, but you just go with it, right? From one blood, all nations of men to dwell on the face of the earth. And have made of one blood from one blood all nations of men for to dwell on all the face of the earth, and hath determined the times before appointed. Again, these same times for these people to live, right? And the bounds of their habitation. We're going to have to start picking out how we can let each other live in peace, ladies and gentlemen. Can I say that? Can I, real quick, man, can I say that? We got to stop fighting each other and figure out how we can live in the bounds of our habitations in peace. Can you get to your senator? Can you get to your congressman? Can we talk to the United Unions? We're talking now as Christians now. So you start seeing this type of, and then you become the people who turn the world upside down. But I digress. Can we start holding hands with folks that we don't agree in their beliefs in, to let them know, hey, we're not here to hurt. We're here to help the thing. Y'all live as you so choose. We might not agree with you, but you go on about your life, right? When can we get to that level? Anyway, let's continue. And then we go in here because this went a little longer than I wanted to. The last couple has been a while since I talked to y'all, so we just put it on the line. My apologies again. Listen to this in pieces if you need to, all that type of thing. Where is this final verse? Hold on. Okay, this is I looked up two different things. The Galatians 2, I had mentioned Galatians 2 in talking about Paul and Peter's rebuke. Now, again, Galatians kind of have, there's a few things happens with Peter learning how to play nice with people. That's just the easiest way of saying that, because he had an issue with playing nice with folks. There's a certain way he looked at things, and it stopped him from playing nice with people. But again, ladies and gentlemen, we all down here, and we got, and it's time that we start looking at each other that we're all down here. And to live in peace as much as possible. Let me see if this was... Yeah. Okay. Acts chapter 20, verse 35. Again, more of them doing church-like stuff, right? Going around, helping people, baptizing, so on and so forth, right? You get down to the end. This is it. This is, again, Paul talking about certain things going on with how to deal with people. No, verse 34. Ye yourselves know that these hands have ministered unto my necessities and to them that were with me. This is Paul re-talking about payment of ministers. Again, we have a problem clearly with paying ministers, which is why we have and not which is why, but it's the same mentality that correlates with the workers. Anybody working is always an issue. The boss part, you rarely see that. And again, these two coincide. They correlate with each other, right? I know some of these things I'm talking about today might not be popular, but I believe they're necessary to talk about, y'all, right? Verse 35, I've showed you all things and how that so laboring you ought to support in your work. Again, it's the same thing with the ministry, working through your work. Here's what happens. You support the weak. So now we've got judge the fatherless. Yo, man, this is wild. This is what when Christians talk. See, this is what we're talking about: toys with tots and all this kind of stuff, guys. This is the mentality behind all this. We're supposed to be helping folks. This is not when you the poor you have, what you always not is not for the time for you to kind of skirt around on the other side of the road while they're bleeding and dying, like the story of the Great Samaritan. That's the time to help these folks. It's time to help people. It's time to stand up to your government and tell them it's to get help to these people. You want to kick out the Mexicans, send them back to Mexico. You put more money. You put money in their pocket, man. Why you think they're here. And to remember the words of the Lord Jesus, how he said, it is more blessed to give than to receive. That's where we're going to stop today. Again, guys, there's a blessing in giving, right? So we went a little long, but there's some things we had to talk about today. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that y'all have a powerful holiday season. We're going to talk again to y'all soon, right? Hopefully shorter next time, right? I know I've been saying that we're going to get there. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for walking this road with me. And until next time, as always, look to find the beauty in a different view.